United in impunity. This is how we start this Thursday morning, the 29th of January 2026. This is a morning cafe. This is the very last Thursday of January 2026. 2 days to go before the end of the month. Would you believe it? January imeisha. Friday kesho hakuna nini, watu washalipwa.
For real?
Wengine washamaliza pesa.
Wow.
Anyway, we're here to wake you up the best way we know how. This is a morning cafe.
My name is Anne Odida. Karibu sana. Tunafurahi umetujoin. Talk to us. Tell us what's happening where you are and where you're watching us from.
All right, let's take a look at the dailies this morning. United in impunity is a big headline on the Daily Nation. Still talking about the violence that we witnessed on Sunday.
The Standard shaming judiciary.
Ile mkutano ya UDA imeleta mshike. Matakwa makali ya IEBC mwaka 2027 walizungumza Taifa Leo.
People Daily, how big money is shaping 2027 race for State House?
It's all about the money. Unaona ile mlima ya pesa iko hapo kwa front page ya People Daily. Noma sana. This is a long one. County billions, how governors sank cash into stalled projects. There's one who actually took 10 million shillings meant for markets, akapeleka kwa mkutano ya mkubwa, akalipa bodaboda.
Wow.
Ndio wakuje wengi.
Hii nchi tuko na pesa.
Nakwambia. All right, that's a star.
Finally, Business Daily, Kenya to swap Eurobond for food in 129 shillings billion.
Just get your loan for food.
Hey. 129 billion.
Loan for food. Yeah.
Wow.
Tutawapea chakula. That's the Business Daily. Today we'll be having MCS Kiroga Dhuku and Robert Alai of Shinga Ward and Kilelesho Ward respectively, alongside Arnold Maliba, who's a party leader, Progress Plus Alliance, to take a look at the headlines today. So do stand by for that, coming your way at 6:30.
All right, later on, it's Thursday. We are talking matters health. Kidney failure, the silent struggle. Kidney is a silent killer, with Dr. Victor Ngani is a medical doctor, Dr. Rasik Kantaria at Jalaram Medical Services. Do stay tuned for that.
All right. Tuvuke boda tuende Uganda, wanazungumzia nini? Now in Uganda, there's something interesting that happens, even before we take a look at the big one. They actually appoint military officers to parliament. So UPDF has elected representatives to parliament, inaitwa special interest MPs. Na hii kitu ni kama imefanya ile kitu. Anyway, as it continues to start, that is what is happening in Uganda. As they continue to look at the aftermath of the elections, they've appointed MPs, military officers to parliament. Can you imagine? Wow. Most of them are there. Na wanavaa uniform. Unaweza imagine Kenya tungekuwa tunafanya hivi pia. Kuna special interest jeshi. But you know, actually, the way President Museveni came into power is through a military coup. So through the National Revolution Movement. So the Uganda's People's Defense Force has some seats which are exclusive for them in parliament.
Alafu wanakwamilia.
Wanakaa hapo na watoki. Anyway, the big headline is not that one. That is on the front page. It occupies most of the space there. The big headline is on the speaker's race. Inside CEC meet on speaker race, ring-fenced. They say the decision by the top leadership of the ruling party NRM on Monday to freeze contacts for the coveted speaker and deputy speaker positions for the 12th parliament came after a spirited fight by some members against the incumbents. Unajua incumbent ni nani? Naitwa Anita Among. She's among the contestants. So yena speaker, NRM wanataka they remain her and her deputy. But now kuna wale wameingia na wanasema ataki hawa watu wamekaa hapa sana. So those, I think that now that is the aftermath of the elections. Now everything moves to parliament and the elections and the first seating and all that. That's the Daily Monitor.
Still in Uganda, the new vision, leading mayors, all of them are here on the front page now. Wengi, peaceful election, they say. Lower voter turnout attributed to lack of trust. Lack of trust, ama walikuwa wamechoka tu. And this is on page 4 and 5. All of them are here. They're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 20 of them. Other quick headlines. Government speaks out on opposition arrest. And of course, Besige's health. The wife said, Winnie Besige said it's deteriorating. Akiwa bado kule jail. School ordered to follow new calendar. That's in Uganda still. And MP Ubwe loses a jury seat to UPC's Jalame. So huyu anakaa ni kama ni somebody prominent there. Because I can mention hapo peke yake. CEC endorses Amon Tayebwa for speaker and of course deputy speaker. All right, that's the New Vision, that's the Uganda.
Let's take a look at what's happening in Tanzania. Matters business given prominence on the front page of the Citizen. Inside the U.S. review of Tanzania relations, acting U.S. ambassador to Tanzania, Andrew Lentz, explains why Washington has decided to review its relations with Tanzania, citing concerns over investment, governance, and rights, and outlining a new path anchored in reciprocity. Yeah. So Tanzania, they are not very happy with how the US is treating them. Wanajua hata hao ni among wale walipewa ile visa, hash visa rules. Kenya sisi hatuna mambo kama hayo. Still on this page, how Premier League local content are setting pay TV firms apart. So there's big competition between pay TV firms on how they broadcast the Premier League matches, which are very popular in a lot of African countries, including Kenya as well. MV Mwanza's role in boosting economic drive in East Africa. This is the recent launch of the MV New Mwanza ferry. There's a major step in strengthening trade, transport, and economic activity in Tanzania's Lake Zone and neighboring East African countries. Hii nafikiri kwa Lake Victoria. MV Mwanza, yes. Mwanza is a lake city on the shores of Lake Victoria. Pale juu NMB posts 1.1 trillion Tanzanian money pre-tax profit, and those are the big headlines on the front page of the Citizen.
Tukisalia kule Bongo, kuna mafisadi wengi nchini, yani kulingana na mbunge wa Gairo kule Tanzania anaitwa Shabibi, asema wanakula zaidi fedha za umma kuliko inavyodhaniwa. Yuko tayari kuwataja, aigusa TAKUKURU sekretarieti ya maadili ya viongozi. Asema wanakula zaidi fedha za umma kuliko inavyodhaniwa.
Wanararua, nyinyi mnafikiria inakulwa kidogo, inakulwa inatafunwa kabisa.
Anasema katika nchi hii sasa hivi mafisadi wanapiga, sio wanapiga kidogo. Wanapiga kwa uhakika, ni walaji na ni walafi. Watu wanafanya mambo wakidhani wananchi hawana uelewa. Mimi kwenye ukweli huwa nazungumza ukweli, na kwenye kona huko huwa siendi. Madhara ya kukaa kimya unapodaiwa. Masuala ya uchumi hapa. Anasema watu wengi katika jamii ya Kitanzania kukopeshana fedha ni jambo la kawaida ili kutatua changamoto za maisha ya kila siku. Hata hivyo, kumekuwa na mwenendo usio mzuri. Baadhi ya wanaokopa wanaposhindwa kurejesha fedha kwa muda walioahidi, wanaenda kimya.
Ananyamaza.
Ukimpigia ashiki simu. Anakuambia sasa 500 ni kitu ya kunipea stress nayo.
At least anaongea. Ananyamaza.
Alright, ujumbe kwa Papa Leo pia iko hapo katika ukurasa wa mbele. Au ni kiongozi wa kanisa Katoliki duniani, Papa Leo. Anakuanga Papa Leo wangapi?
16. 14.
14. Akipokea ujumbe kutoka kwa Rais Samia Suluhu Hassan uliowasilishwa kwake na Waziri wa Mambo ya Nje na Ushirikiano wa Afrika Mashariki, huyo ni Mahmoud Thabiti Kombo, aliyemtembelea Vatican katika ziara yake hapo jana. Mambo matano agenda 2030 ya NMB kizinduliwa, na kule juu hatari kwa wanaotumia vilainishi wakati wa kujamiana. Habari
ya kule Mwananchi, habari kama hiyo huwezi ipata kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa magazeti ya hapa nchini. Lakini huku ni wapi? Bongo. Alright. Kabla tuangalie karakacha, tunarejelea kuangalia magazeti ya humu nchini kwa kina, muda usiokuwa mrefu kwa sasa. Tuangazie hali ya anga, na sababu ya kiteknolojia ni kama wanataka kuturudisha nyuma kidogo, lakini sisi nani. Tunang'ang'ana na hao. We've been witnessing that trend of general, although yesterday I think there was some drizzle here and there.
Wapi?
In areas around Kiambu. But let's take a look at Machakos, because we saw areas around the eastern part of the country that were getting really warm. It's Kitui was saying that was going to hit 32 degrees.
32, yes.
32 degrees. So today we take a look at Machakos, kule Ukambani. It is 14 degrees currently, partly cloudy day, but highs of 28 degrees, which is fair weather compared to Kitui. It will drop down over the weekend to 27, then come back again to 28 next week. So not so bad in Machakos in comparison to what we saw in Kitui yesterday.
In Nyeri, it's 12 degrees this morning. Today, there will be clear skies with periodic clouds, highs of 27 degrees. Precipitation is 0, nothing to show for it. And this is the weather up until, hata next week itakuwa 28.
28 degrees. Okay, in Turkana, we do expect much higher temperatures. Highs of 37 degrees in Turkana today. Clear skies with periodic clouds. Currently, it's 26 degrees, which is what most parts of the country are feeling. This 36, 37 will continue for the next 2 weeks. Zero chance of any precipitation in Turkana. Eldoret imehepa tu hivyo, haitaki kuangaliwa.
Lamu, it's 24 degrees, feels like 27 this morning, highs of 31 degrees. Precipitation is 10%, it's a mostly cloudy day. This 31 degrees, your standard. Like next week, it will drop just by 1 degree.
31 degrees in Eldoret is high. No, that's not
in
Eldoret,
Lamu.
that's Lamu. Busia, which is also part of the Lake Victoria region, clear skies today. Highs of 31 degrees, which is very hot. This will continue tomorrow. It gets even hotter at 32 degrees. So yes, the trend continues. Kila mahali joto jingi. Kuna watu wamecomplain wanashindwa kulala usiku. Wasema too much heat. The place is just humid and too much heat. 15 degrees currently in Nairobi. Highs of 29, which is the highest we've seen so far. Yes. 29 and hiyo ndio ile highest tutaona this month, because tomorrow it drops to 28 at the weekend, goes even further down to 27. But 29 is very high even for Nairobi, and it will continue like that next week. Zero
February.
chance. By the tunaingia February. When we come back on Monday, it will be February. Ni kama akili yangu ishaenda weekend tayari. Anyway, that's the weather situation across most regions of the country. Let's take a look at the traffic in Nairobi this morning.
12 minutes for 6 a.m.
Hii mambo sasa inakaa ikijirudia rudia. Tuangalie, naambiwa Kiambu Road kulikuwa na shida mahali.
And we are live there.
Now we're seeing Kiambu Road, a bit of traffic building up. This is from that section next to AAR Hospital. But it's not so bad. It's looking, traffic is flowing smoothly, a few minutes past 6. If this continues, it means that we're going to enjoy the traffic this morning. Lakini tunajua ikifika 6:30 maneno itageuka pale Kiambu Road. So far so good. It's green all the way from the Four Ways Junction all the way to the Pangani interchange. So those are live pictures showing us the traffic on Kiambu Road. All right. Other sections and other big major tributaries into town are looking like this morning. We can see Thika Road not looking bad. Jana kulikuwa na issue hapa Mathare Hospital na ni kama pia leo inataka kustretch hivyo. This area hapa, lakini hiyo ni kawaida yake. Nothing to worry about there. Outer Ring Road is looking green, both sides of the road between Thika Road and the Eastern Bypass. The other section that's getting busy is within town. Na leo ile barabara ya pale Muthurwa, it's getting busier than usual. Hapo opposite Machakos bus station as you head towards the CBD. There's a long stretch of yellow and dots of red as well, so it's getting busy there. Kangundo Road, that whole stretch, ile inaenda Njiru, sio mbaya sana, but hapa na pale matatu zinabeba abiria. Let's take a look at the other major tributaries into town. Mombasa Road is looking good all the way into town. Wayaki Way 2, Ngong Road, as well as the other major tributaries like Langata Road and the Southern Bypass. Nothing to report from that end. Yes. So that's a traffic situation this Thursday morning. Not so bad.
All right, let's have the quote of the day.
No one else lives in your shoes, so walk your journey with boldness. Your truth is valid even if misunderstood.
Yes, discussions around the attack on a church in Wetimo Othaya on Sunday still remaining on the front pages. This story has refused to leave the front pages. Today, the Daily Nation goes with this headline, United in Impunity, with the image of the person in charge of Interior and Matters Security, Kipchumba Murkomen there. They say the former Deputy President challenges Interior Minister to name persons who ordered police to attack him. So they ask a question, is it a cover-up? 4 days after the attack on former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua at a church service in Nyeri, the latest in a string of similar incidents, there has been no reported questioning of suspects or arrests. Security chiefs have also ignored queries about the status of investigations into the bloody violence. Yesterday, we had the senator from Muranga, Joe Nyoto, in studio. He was among the politicians who had accompanied the deputy president for that church service. And so they witnessed there. These were first-hand witnesses. Nikamuuliza kama polisi wamemcontact kumuuliza si ukuje utuambie nini ili happen. Hakuna kitu. No one has been contacted. But police are saying they're doing what? They're investigating. Yeah. CS Kipchumba Murkomen says, is quoted here on the front page of the Daily Nation, and said the regional commissioner and security team must take legal action against those who raided the church and caused chaos to ensure that it does not happen again. But who are these you're looking for if you're not investigating? Yeah. Simply put, there are no investigations going on. So they have images of people who should be in charge of security, but now all of them are united in impunity. The CS for Interior, IG of Police Douglas Kanja, Director of DCI Mohamed Amin, Mushiri Nyaga was a National Police Service spokesman, alisema tulieni, tuliza boli. I know you're baying for blood, but we are investigating. Central Regional Commissioner Joshua Nkatha and Regional Police Commander Jasper Ombati. These are just some of the senior security officers who are supposed to be answerable in matters security. The other story given prominence on the front page of the Daily Nation, and it stems from that story that also featured yesterday on the front pages, to do with SHA. SHA crisis is one of them. So 2 CSs appeared before MPs who continue with their retreat in Naivasha. One of them was the one in charge of education, Julius Ogamba, kaulizwa maswali mingi kuhusu shule na akaambiwa your PS is the most incompetent. Alafu Aden Duale pia akakuja na alikuwa anaulizwa maswali, sasa pesa mnasema iliibiwa 11 billion. Hivyo tu mnasema, hivyo tu na to move on, si ndio?
Ask you chunga.
11 billion. Wewe wacha. Hiyo ni 11. It's just 11. Sasa 11 ni kitu ya kusumbua watu. Anyway. So that story is on page 7 of this paper. You can read more on it. Mbarire diverted 10 million shillings to Kindiki political event. Now, this is one of the big stories. Senate continues to probe audit reports from various counties. So they've been questioning a number of governors. Yeah, kuna ule mmoja aliambiwa ni minister wa sherehe huko Vihiga, alichukua milioni 5 akapeleka kwa sherehe. Hii imeleta shida.
Na unajua kuna pending bills huko mingi sana.
Milioni 5 ikaenda kwa sherehe. Ilikuwa house party, housewarming party. According to reports, mimi sijui sikuwa hapo, mimi sikuwa kwa hiyo sherehe. Sasa according to reports, ule governor wa Embu 10 million shillings zikatoka zikaenda, kulikuwa na event ya deputy president, akatumia inasemekana, akatumia inaitwaje? Galvanize support ya watu wenye watakuja hapo, boda haswa. That story is on page. Yeah, Senate fury over Mbarire diverted 10 million shillings. Senators have condemned the misuse of public funds, demanding accountability and harsh legal consequences. Funds were intended for industrial park. They were directed to finance boda. Hata nimeona Moses Kuria, because when he was CS for trade, yeye ndo alikuwa ameanzisha hizi industrial parks in various counties. So anasema surely, yani mimi nilimaliza hiyo kazi sababu ninge take credit kama inge go through, mkaona mchukue hiyo pesa mpelekee boda. Ni sawa tu. Those are the stories on the front page of the Daily Nation. Kule nyuma, women's rugby. Hii ndio mchezo moja inakuanga serious. World Rugby Sevens Division 2 Championships. Kenya Lionesses are in Spain for camp training ahead of the event. Ingine pale, it's all systems go as team starts selecting para-athletes for international contests. That's the Daily Nation today.
All right. The Standard shaming judiciary. UDA operative, the independence of the judiciary is facing a credibility test as allegations of partisan conduct engulf a sitting Judicial Service Commissioner. With High Court interviews days away, critics warn that political colours have been smuggled into an institution meant to be blind to power. At the center of the storm is JSC Vice Chair Isaac Ruto, who fraternized with the ruling party structures, raising fears that judicial processes risk being reduced to a loyalty test.
But are you shocked that this is happening? Surely, these are political appointees. Yeah, this is a known politician. He has been elected governor. He has been serving as an MP. The only reason he was appointed to the JSC was because of his political allegiance. So why are we shocked when he shows up for a party event? Yeah, isn't that the nature? I'm not saying it's morally right, but isn't that the nature of our politics?
Well, if we do not want people like, for example, cabinet secretaries to also affiliate themselves with the parties, right? Then JSC is also a public office.
Yeah,
Then
no, jamaa wetu Iano ashafika pale anasoma gazeti. Lakini ameenda nyuma tu kuangalia timu gani iko nyuma huko.
This is the Arsenal, yes.
Arsenal won a Champions League game yesterday.
League weight of expectation.
Angalia ukurasa wa page wa kwanza. Hiyo ndio story tunasema. Shaming judiciary,
right? JSC is a public office.
JSC is a public office.
Yes,
I know there are questions around the conflict of interest.
Yes.
But the reality of life and Kenyan politics is that siasa is at the center of everything.
Na hiyo picha ilimcapture vizuri sana akiwa ametulia pale.
Anashanga sasa hata akuwa anajificha.
Mtadu. Anywho, it says Ruto attended a political event at State House recently adorned in party colors. This is Isaac Ruto. Kenyans and lawyers say there is perceived bias in his dealings and should quit. Will he? Anyway. And the Standard also wamecover something here quite interesting, removing a JSC commissioner, and they say to remove one from office, then those seeking the removal need to petition the National Assembly, laying out the allegations and ground for removal.
So you imagine now at Isabali attend UDA, now you have to petition the National Assembly.
Kwenye yako.
The majority of those members are UDA members to remove him.
Will be dead on arrival.
Okay, sometimes let's be honest. It's impossible. No, not impossible, it's improbable. It won't happen.
This story is on page 4, quite interesting. And it's the only story given prominence on the front page of the Standard. Ukundani, page 2, clueless. Where is 97% transition education bosses on receiving end?
Well,
yes,
boy, they are clueless.
They have accused education officials of being out of touch with the realities in schools. Waliambiwa endeni ground. Nakaa huko Nairobi, nasema 1, 2, 3, go back ground. Kintel organizing tales of men killed in Russia. That's another story on the inside pages. Winnie, only the NDC can confirm ODM leadership. This is a story.
ODM wrangles continue. Today we'll be having Robert Alai. He's been very vocal online about ODM, who's right, who's wrong. Lakini yake yote inakuanga in support of William Ruto. I think the biggest enemy that Robert Alai has, it's Uhuru Kenyatta. Every tweet about him, hata kama haiko related, you might be talking about Sukuma Wiki, atasema Uhuru Kenyatta hapendi farmers.
All right. Ruto's UDA on edge as Gachagua tour stars political hit in Nakuru. They say businessman Samburu is leading strategic consultations and voter mobilization efforts, and DCP has gained traction challenging ruling party dominance in Nakuru County. Well, you come from Nakuru. Do you think so?
Well, it's interesting to see. Once niliona billboard moja kubwa sana, ule Dr. Peter Mbaye, who is vying for senator, amepiga picha hapo na kaeka Rigathi Gachagua, akasema karibu Nakuru.
On the back page, tulishaongelea Arsenal. We've seen Ian looking at it. Can Arsenal handle Premier League weight of expectation? Can we?
Oh yes, we can.
We can.
Oh yes, we can.
Yes. Team kubwa hii hapa Arsenal.
Kuna story pale page 7 of this paper, and it's about what the opposition has done, demands to the IEBC ahead of the elections. So the most interesting thing now, we'll call for mass action. And that's the first time we're hearing such a call. We'll call for mass action if you don't do this and the other. Hizo zilikuanga demands za Raila Odinga. So after Raila Odinga exits, now this is the first time we're hearing someone saying we'll call for mass action. Will it happen? We'll have to wait and see. Standard. Matakwa makali ya IEBC mwaka 2027, tume ya uchaguzi yawasilisha mapendekezo tofauti ikiwemo bajeti kubwa kuandaa uchaguzi huru na wa haki. Mwenyekiti wa IEBC Erastus Ethekon ampigwa picha hapa na wengine, anasema tume huru ya uchaguzi na mipaka IEBC imewasilisha kwa bunge la kitaifa kile inachosema ni mwongozo wa kuhakikisha uchaguzi huru na wa haki mwaka ujao, ikipendekeza mabadiliko ya baadhi ya sheria na miongozo ya uchaguzi. Katika orodha yake ya matakwa, IEBC inataka marekebisho yafanyiwe sheria ya uchaguzi na sheria ya makosa ya uchaguzi ili iwe na meno ya kung'ata wale wanaokiuka kanuni za uchaguzi. Habari kamili kwenye ukurasa wa pili. Tume inasema ndio tunajua kuna makosa ya uchaguzi, lakini sisi hata tukiwapata very little we can do. Yeah. Vidokezo zaidi mbali na hayo, kibali tayari Mackenzie ashtakiwe kwani hajashtakiwa. Koti yatoa amri ya kumtaka mhubiri Paul Mackenzie awasilishwe katika mahakama hiyo. Kwingineko, Gamba atolewa jasho kikaoni. Wabunge walimpeleka mbio, walimtimua kweli kweli. Tume ya kura yatetea Museveni. Nasikia ni kama tume ya kura, ni kama IEBC inatetea rais. Wow. Tume ya uchaguzi Uganda yaomba mahakama ya juu itupilie mbali kesi. Pale juu Duale akana upendeleo katika uajiri. Waziri apuuzilia mbali madai ya upendeleo katika uajiri wa wafanyakazi wa SHA. Na pale kwenye sport, Villa Lyon sasa ndani ya 8 bora kule Europa. Mechi za mwisho za Europa ni leo, timu 19 tayari zikiwa zimefuzu kwa raundi ya 16. Arsenal mojawapo wako kileleni pale Europa. Pia mechi zao 8 wamechapa zote 8. Tuko mbele. Taifa Leo.
Na tukisonga mbele haraka haraka, People Daily, how big money is shaping 2027 race for State House on the till. Pesa imejaa hapo nyuma. How big money is shaping 2027 race for State House. Ni kumwaga tu pesa kila mahali. Right. Of course to galvanize. Kule juu, Ezra Chiloba anasema Mudavadi's quiet choice for Trans Nzoia in 2027. That's a question. Stop targeting Gachagua, protect political freedom. That's an opinion on page 12. People in politics, People Daily.
Star kuna moja ndefu sana hapa. County billions our governors sank cash into stalled projects. Some initiated way back in 2013 and 2014 financial year. This one continues as the Senate continues to probe audit reports on counties. Kama hiyo ya Embu, 10 million ikapelekwa bodaboda na kwingine wakaenda sherehe. Opposition piles pressure on IEBC over 2027 poll tech. I think that we've seen on the Taifa Leo. Pastor's 100-hour tree hug sparks employment pledge for youth. Na hii mambo ya kuhug miti, I think we need to come up with a new thing now. Tumehug miti sana. CBC reality, why cooks might scrap C+ cut-off grade for varsity. This is a game changer, page 6 of this paper. Yes. The Star, fresh, independent, different. If you grab yourself a copy, you only need 60 bob if you are in Kenya. Finally, Business Daily.
Kenya to swap Eurobond for food in 129 billion shillings deal. This is loan for food swap to replace costly public debt. Countries are standing Eurobond stand at 872 billion shillings. It says the Treasury will use proceeds from 129 billion debt for food security swap to make early repayments on outstanding Eurobonds to ease Kenya's heavy debt burden. This is a story on page 2, and the Treasury CS is right there at the center. Fresh Bank saved from paying Kenyans in US embassy attack. Kenyan victims of the 1998 bombing of the US embassy in Nairobi have lost the legal battle to compel the Attorney General to pursue compensation from top French bank, that is BNP Paribas and Sudan. The High Court yesterday found no legal basis to force Kenya to seek reparations from the bank, Sudan, Iran, or assets linked to Al-Qaeda in a verdict that eased a diplomatic storm. And on the ticker, KRA says more than 50% of accessible products illicit. NSSF increases its Eurobonds holdings to 34 billion shillings, and unit trust assets tipped to cross 1 trillion shillings.
All right, so those are the local dailies that we'll be looking at with my panelists. Kiruga Dhuku, MCA Shinga Ward, Robert Alai, MC Kilelesho Ward, and Arnold Maliba, Party Leader, Progress Plus Alliance. Later on, we'll be talking about matters health, kidney failure, to be specific, the silent struggle. Dr. Vita Ngani will be in studio with Anne. Tuangazie karakacha sasa, watu wanazungumzia nini kwenye katuni. Tunaanza na this one on the Star. Machungwa na wheelbarrow kila mahali, watu wanapimana nguvu. Alafu wawili, a caricature of the president and the ODM party leader, wasema a margin of 3 million, of 3 plus with a full orange. So they're just gauging, okay. Sahi unajua the orange is divided. With a full orange, the president alisema atashinda na margin ya 3 million next year. Yeah. Cartoon on the Star.
This is the standard. Hey, Senate, kuna mtu anasema hapa, if you don't come when I summon you, there will be consequences. That is a PSC. Governors wanawambia utadu.
Yeah, utadu. So the governors have been caricatured as a very big dog in comparison to the Public Accounts Committee of the Senate. Mbwa mkubwa anasema utafanya, utadu. So nilipeleka pesa kwa boda boda, utadu. The Standard. The Daily Nation pia more animals here. Kuna fisi pale amebeba mbuzi. Mbuzi ni sha. Fisi pale ni fake claims. Alafu commentator hapa anasema when he's done with you he'll claim my life too. Wale fisi wa fake claims watakula sha wamaliza, alafu waenda wakule binadamu wagonjwa wanaenda hospitalini. That's a cartoon on the Daily Nation.
Finally, this is the...
Oh, that's a People Daily.
No, this is the Daily Nation.
This is the Daily Nation.
Rogue Goons sasa wako hapa pia. Hawa wanataka kwenda strike. Boda bodas. What are they called? Matatus, yeah? Because they're saying boda bodas are rogue.
But it's true, boda bodas have gone rogue.
Wanachoma magari zao, so they're threatening a strike.
Plus, it's like they've gone to the mountain and come down with a plaque of their own commandments. They run by their own rules. Ukimguza hivi bodaboda hata akigonga gari yako, ataita wengine wakuja wakupige na wachome gari yako. Na ni amekugonga. They run by their own rules.
Above the law.
They're above the law. Munaonekana tu. Moja siku yenyu bodaboda itafika. Itafika.
Sasa matatu na bodaboda wanapigana. Mtu alisema ni kama police kukasirika because goons become hard to control. All right, do interact with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya. Before that, tushawaona. We are grateful for you. Geoffrey Musungu anasema good morning mabingwa. Good morning to you too, Bingwa. Watching from Karagita, Naivasha, Narausha, Juma Mahoha, Samson Juma, na Francis Indimuli. Fred Ndimuli ama Francis Indimuli? Amesema
Francis.
Clarify for us. Dedan Mkungi anasema good morning to you too. Francis Okanga tuned in, we see you. Advisor Pastor Emmanuel Barasa Manu, good morning. Kitengela well represented, nafuatilia show hadi tamati. Asante sana. Lois Moli anasema good morning. Stephen Kosira, good morning Anne and Fred na watazamaji wote Nakuru County tuko ndani.
Naroka, no Naroka.
Huyu ni Naroko, right? Sorry for that. John Malo anasema Mukuyuni Farms, Sihendu Ward, Trans Nzoia County tuko pamoja. Asante sana.
Scooby Asosh anasema and the heat they bring we cook tea. Karibuni breakfast Nakuru Morning Cafe TV47. Good morning. Asante sana Scooby Asosh. Mwingine hapa anasema kuna mmoja amejiwish happy birthday. Alafu TV47 ikamuwish happy birthday pia. Alafu akasema asante.
Happy birthday to Ruth Karani. All right, TV47 Kenya on Facebook. And
so
on
Ruth
YouTube.
Karani naambiwa is a big fan.
Yes, top fan.
Na watch kila siku. So happy birthday from Anne and I to Ruth Karani. Happy birthday from the entire team at Morning Cafe. Naambiwa ati utuitie sherehe, tunapenda sherehe.
Absolutely.
Waziri wa sherehe.
Yes. Huyu ni waziri wa sherehe in fact. TV47 Digital on X. My handle is at @Anna_Odida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe TV47.
My handle on X is at Fred Ndimuli. See you after the break.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Omer every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. Only on TV47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach. Only on TV47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gun. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
Ila mimi si kama. Hiyo naona kubali.
Wewe ni simpa.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Forget Man. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Forget is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Ani wewe furahia umekaa na kasipuni.
CP unit ni Punet. So you guys knew about Piga. Sawa basi. Sema, Nilata gave it the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
Next time you need fresh lemon juice, microwave a lemon for 7 to 10 seconds. Then roll the lemon back and forth under your palm on the counter. When you squeeze, you'll
United Opposition Alliance leaders on Wednesday held their first face-to-face meeting with the new Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission team, led by Chairperson Erastus Ethekon, piling pressure on the Commission over deep-seated mistrust arising from last year's by-elections.
We started by telling them the perception out there is that this is a William Ruto Commission, and we gave them the opportunity to prove us wrong. Not us, the whole country.
We have asked them in the coming by-elections to address the issues of goonism and insecurity that was witnessed in the last by-elections. This will enable us to confirm that they have good faith. They have agreed that there were issues.
According to leaders who attended the meeting, the opposition adopted a hardline stance, demanding the resignation of IEBC Chief Executive Officer Hussein Marjani and seeking accountability over his performance at the Secretariat.
We clearly are very unhappy with the CEO. We made it clear to them. Let us see what they are going to do.
The commission is, however, said to have been on the defensive, with commissioners insisting they have only been in office for 3 months and asking to be given the benefit of the doubt.
We did raise the issue that we were not happy with the process that gave birth to the commission. But now that they are in office, they are there to serve all of us as Kenyans.
Questions were also raised over the status of IEBC contract with technology firm Smartmatic, as well as the credibility and readiness of the Kenya Integrated Elections Management System, KIMS-KIDS.
We have institutionalized our interaction with them. We have agreed that we will set up a technical team on behalf of the United Opposition, and they will also appoint a technical team so that they can go through all those issues that we raised.
We have demanded that we must have a roadmap, an election timetable that will be open and transparent.
Wednesday's meeting between the opposition and IEBC officials has broken the ice between the two sides as preparations for the 2027 poll gather steam. Apul Kamau, TV47 in Nairobi.
Yes, the more things change, the more they remain the same. The same pattern applies even 18 months to the next general elections. This we've witnessed before. As we prepare for any general election, complaints over the integrity or trust issues around the IEBC. That's where we want to start with my panelists this morning. Robert Alai, MCA Kilelesho Ward. It's good to have you in studio. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
And alongside him, we do have Kiroga Dhuku, MCA Shinga Ward. It's been a while. I've not seen you on this panel. Karibu sana and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. You have not been inviting me. I would have been.
Now we've invited you. And Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Asante sana.
Asante sana.
Yes, Bonalai, we've seen this kind of move, especially from the opposition. It is what we always knew Raila Odinga for, that months before the election, the trust issues around the IEBC, Raila Odinga used to be at the forefront. It's the same pattern. The more things change, the more they remain the same, don't you think?
Yeah, I think, good morning. I think that the challenge we have in this country is the trust on the referee. And it has not started now. You know, during the ECK, we had it during the interim independent electoral body before IEBC. We had it then IEBC, and you know, Hassan must go. You remember those chants. You know, then Wafula Chebukati. We had issues with Chiloba, who was the CEO at the IEBC. You know, at some point, I think IEBC is the biggest punching bag, and that's why even when the president was passing some of the reforms which were being done on the electoral body through the law which I think was passed in the parliament, I think last year or the other year, I proposed one of the amendments which was called the Msando amendments. And worldwide, especially in Germany and in Canada, you'll find that electoral officials are not supposed to be attacked by people who are aspirants in an election, because especially 2 years to an election, that sometimes it leads to their death. You know, we've lost returning officers, we have lost senior IEBC officials, and sometimes when we attack them just for the sake of attacking, we understood, you know, when Azimio was talking about Jose Camargo and so on, you know, the relevance of Venezuela in this, and now Venezuela has its own challenges internally. I think that it's very unfortunate that IEBC is going to go through again without much protection from, you know, the law on what the politicians can do to them. Sometimes I meet the IEBC officials, in fact, even in my constituency, that they look helpless. You know, they look like they're supposed just to be attacked and, you know, nothing happens to the politicians. I think sometimes you need to watch. These are our brothers and sisters. They don't drop from the moon. They are Kenyans, and we need to understand that when we cast aspersions on their character, then it might also lead to them being harmed or killed in line of duty. Unless we have tangible evidence, we need not to attack IEBC, I think.
All right. Yet this could set the stage for contested election or electoral processes, not just the presidency, but even the other sectors. The fact that there's general mistrust in the IEBC's delivery of an election. They were only appointed months ago. Do you think that politicians are a bit unfair when it comes to addressing the IEBC?
Thank you, my brother, and good morning once more to everyone. I think what the opposition is doing is actually setting grounds for rejection of the pending elections. You see, you saw what happened in Bere, and where I happened to have been part of the team that was campaigning for our candidate. You know, these guys, they went there, they couldn't campaign for their candidate. it was the usual Kasongo, whatever shenanigans and nonsense. Then, just talking about our candidate, oh, Amodede this, oh, Amodede that, oh, Amodede this, oh, Amodede that. Eventually, people identified with our candidate because even them, we were talking about our candidate, they were talking about our candidate. When we whipped them, they started claiming, oh, we have been leaked. By who? And I'm telling you, in most cases, politicians will always, whenever they lose, they will want to claim that they were leaked. But even when the electoral body conducts free and fair polls, politicians will always cry foul. So what I think the opposition is trying to do is playing with our minds, playing game minds with everyone, including the judiciary, the electoral body, so that when they are eventually defeated, because now even my brother here can agree, even you yourself you can see, the opposition we have, it is a composition of just a few political figures.
Yeah, this is not the first time this is happening. We've come from a situation where even the general elections, the election of a president was nullified a few years back, and that was by the Supreme Court, meaning that there are serious issues that people are raising regarding use of technology, regarding the integrity of the IEBC. Yeah, there could be some truth to it, some serious concerns.
But you remember even the election that was nullified. It was not nullified because it was leaked. It was just some technical issues. And as my brother Arai says, these are our brothers and sisters. There are some things, people pretend so much, but even themselves, even their homes, you cannot fix everything 100%. But it's not like there is any deliberate effort to sabotage the preparations of the election.
You cannot fix everything 100%.
Yes.
When I lie, that's a concern. Yeah. That you go to an election, you expect everything to be okay. Yeah. Then the court comes and says there were serious irregularities in that election. Did we ever get to address those, or are the same problems, the exact same problems we're facing this time around?
I think that also we need to understand that it is the same opposition which resisted bringing this IEBC to life, and it took a lot of time, the back and forth, even after getting the NADCO report. I think it was very unfortunate to see the stalling of the appointment of the IEBC commissioners, and until now it's even late to do the boundary delimitations. There are things which you cannot do now. There are things which you should have done 2-3 years earlier. So I think that the politicians have contributed to this. We need to understand that at least we need to agree that the country needs to move on. Some of them themselves were suggesting that election should be done this year. And when IBC is preparing for an election, you're telling them that, we need to remove some of you. Then who are you going to have referee this election? I think that it is very unfortunate, the situation we find ourselves in. And that's why I think that the best thing now is for the country to suggest a law, the amendment to the Electoral Act. In honor of Chris Msando, who died on the line of duty, we have a Msando Act, and the Msando Act should criminalize, the casting aspersions of the IBC officials, especially very close to our election, because it is very risky. We have seen officials killed in very inhumane way. I don't think that we can find reason to start casting aspersions of the electoral officials at this stage. I understood even the cries of our coalition then as Emio. But, I also, suggested to them that, don't you think that it's very late now? And remember that BAMBA, the beauty of the politics of the ODM is that, ODM proposed and supported this constitution. But you found that BAMBA was also at the forefront of trying to test the institutions which were created through the constitution. The institutions like IBC, when it came time to challenge it, we either tried to go for the referendum, the reforms, when it failed the election test, and we thought so, then we went to the Supreme Court, which was created by the Constitution of 2010. And that's why sometimes I tell the United Opposition that they need to rely on the law. If there are challenges, I think that they need to go to court. They need to, to try to use dialogue as a means of getting, changes which they want. But sometimes I saw the delegation yesterday at Anniversary Towers, sometimes walking with that crowd into IBC officials. offices, I think is very dangerous to the office, especially the ones who are in far-flung areas where there is not proper security which they can get from the government.
All right. Now, the IEBC itself has already written to Parliament presenting what it considers a prescription for them to deliver a free and fair election. In it, it contains proposed amendments to the Election Offences Act and to the Election Act as well, so that the body can have more teeth to bite, because generally, that isn't it an admission that they are not able, as the law stands right now, they are not able to contain even some of the obvious misbehavior we're seeing by politicians and political players. Don't you think that, yes, there are some problems that the Commission is facing, and they're being raised by other people, but the Commission itself understands, yes, there are issues here and there?
Yeah, it's just, Fred, it's just like I told you. You know, in this world, it's very hard. You know, even when you hear of the developed countries, you even hear them shutting down their economies and such things. It's very hard that at any particular time, whether individual or nations, they will claim to be at the most apex of perfectionism. We are always trying. So no institution can work on its own. You know, institutions keep improving. And IEBC is no exception. In fact, even the judiciary, the parliament itself, you know, county government, the national government, institutions keep working on improvement, on their improvement. Therefore, I believe, number one, IEBC needs the support of everyone, the government and the opposition and the other institutions, in order to deliver a credible poll, because we've all seen what can happen if elections or election disputes go south. Therefore, my take is that everyone, the government, the opposition, you know, all these politicians throwing all manner of, you know, accusation left, right, center, IEBC needs our support. IEBC needs to be given a chance, because, you know, as the award goes, they are supposed to be independent. They are not supposed to be there to please anyone. They are supposed to arbitrate, you know, overall to manage the conduct of elections. And as you rightly observe, they are right to go to Parliament to seek more clarity, more powers of, you know, administering punitive measures to those who may be violating the electoral rules.
All right.
Yes.
Yet we've seen a lot of, and this was especially coming from Azimio and ODM for a long time, a lot of complaints, a lot of calls for opening of servers, for improving the electoral process. Now this is 18 months to the elections. Do we have time to improve anything? Fine, we may pursue new or adjusted pieces of legislation, but do you think it's enough to counter some of the ills that everyone identified so plainly?
I don't think that we have enough time, and I think that probably we'll never have enough time. I think just we need to understand that preparation for election and losing an election happens way earlier. You know, from the time you prepare, you remember the conversation we have had recently about Azimio and the internal, you know,
the agents,
the issue of agents.
That many people don't want to talk about.
People don't want to talk about agents, you know, because they know that it's a very dicey topic here and there. Were there agents? Were there no agents? But, you know, agents still lead up to IEBC. People are blaming the referee. That if you trust the referee, why do you need agents? You know, if you can trust the referee, it means that there's no trust on the referee. So I think that the time might not be there. I think the opposition just need to prepare for an election. I know that for a fact, William Ruto's side, I think even the tallying center is ready. I think that these guys just need to prepare for an election because the country has to move on. Even if today something unfortunate happens to the President of the Republic of Kenya, the country will move on. You know, you saw the recent death of Raila Amolo Odinga. We are just over 3 months, 4 months away from that. The country is moving on. So people need to find a way of ensuring that the country continues, even with the challenges we've had in the politics. It's a small democracy. Colonialists, I think, were here for 67 years. This country has not got into the 67 years after colonialism. So we think there are things which we are still developing, but we need to find ways of moving away from them, building the trust on the institutions which are just like we have challenges with the judiciary, but we don't allow, the open attacking of judges and judicial officials. We have problems with the executive, and sometimes you go and insulate the executive, the president, and you tell them that you have to change A, B, C, D, but ensure that the state remains.
Now, briefly, that we are still on the IEBC, there's an issue of boundaries delimitation that the IEBC came out and made a pronouncement on this week saying they cannot be able to do that before the next election. And that could pose serious challenges, some that may be challenged in court. Do you agree that probably when it comes to IEBC and the issues, the kind of work it's supposed to do, we have not been really serious with this commission?
Yeah, now, even before I answer that, Honorable Arai reminds me, the same characters that are now on the neck of the IEBC. He has mentioned, the various challenges we may have in the judiciary. He reminds me that the same characters leading the opposition today, there was a time, in fact, that time they were in government, they were threatening to lead a mass action against sitting judges, which is a very, very old way of doing things. But coming back to your question, there are timelines. We are saying we are less than 18 months to the next general elections. The limitation of boundaries is not a simple thing. And bearing in mind, you tell people, no, this one will reach here, they go to court. Especially, our society has become very litigious in recent times. So basically, there is no even argument there. It is a matter of simple common sense. It's totally, there is no adequate time to take,
We've had 12 years to plan for this thing.
No, this IEBC, it's a new thing, my brother. It's a new body.
Lack of independence of this commission. IEBC as itself, that as long as it's politically inconvenient for politicians to consider a possible boundaries review, that IEBC by itself cannot conduct.
Let me add just one word before you take it from me. Look, even bringing in this IEBC, how much time did it take? I'm telling you, we have become such a litigious society, we are fighting over almost everything, Bringing in this IEBC, we had a stalemate. So, I'm even glad they are not even attempting to make those boundaries because, again, we would have had to postpone the general elections.
It's true that no politician would want to have this discussion, but failure by the IEBC over those years, 12 years to conduct this, it means that definitely we cannot consider this IEBC or IEBC by itself as an independent commission.
I think that the one challenge with this country is that when sometimes they want to try to make a commission or a body institution of government independent, they had the name independent before they were independent in the name. And I think that IEBC suffers the same fate, that sometimes it's viewed with very different lenses. Even now, Rigathi Gachagua is casting aspersions, even including the election of 2022, where he was the same side with the president, and he's saying that there are a lot of things which they did wrong, and he would be able to reveal it at a later stage. I don't know what it is. But you still remember what we were saying is that open the server. And open the server was not literally about opening a server, and we articulated the issue here. We said that, please, let's carry out an audit. Let's know what happened wrong, what happened in a bad way, what can we improve, what can we change. These are the things which we are saying to the politicians. But now they are finding it convenient to go to IEBC to lament. The time is too short that even the boundary delimitation, even if the IEBC had the capability and the time to do it now, we don't have a census because part of the census was nullified by courts. So which census are you going to use? Because the boundary delimitation depends on population census. So there's a lot of challenges there. I think that the country needs to understand that for us to conduct an election with this, because what ensures that Kenya is different from Uganda and Tanzania is that, and very many regional, at least a bit unstable countries or very unstable countries like Sudan and Somalia, is that Kenya is able to conduct elections every 5 years. And if we miss that deadline, it is going to affect the stability of the country.
All right. independence of the IEBC, and are they able to carry out free and fair elections next year? That's a big conversation, and it's there in the dailies today. When we come back after the break, we'll be talking about that attack that happened in Nyeri on Sunday, and the fact that the police, up till now, have not said anything. That after the break. You're watching Morning Cafe.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Omer every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. Only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach. Only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments. Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show. Don't forget tonight. Mambo ya kulingana mawe, kupigana kwa kanisa hatuwezi kukubali. Na hatuwezi kukubali mambo ambayo tuliona hapa majuzi tukiwa pale Odhaya. Haiwezekani tena. Na nimeambia regional commissioner na regional security team lazima wachukue hatua ya kisheria kuhakikisha mambo hayo yamekomeshwa na kusimamishwa completely. Sisi kama serikali, na Mheshimiwa Rais ametuambia wazi, serikali yetu inafanya siasa ya amani. Hata tukiwa na wapinzani wetu waendelee kufanya siasa yao kwa amani. Kila mtu apewe nafasi yake, afanye siasa yake, auze sera zake. Mwishowe wananchi ndio watanunua ile sera ambayo inaweza kuwafaidi kwa maisha yao.
All right, it's more than 72 hours since the events of Sunday at Wetima Church in Odhaya, where goons, accompanied by police apparently, using firearm and police vehicles with government markings, descended on the church, lobbing tear gas, canisters into a congregation and firing guns and bullets. United in Impunity is a front page of the Daily Nation, talking about the fact that senior police officers have not given direction on whether or not the investigations have begun and what direction they have taken. None of the politicians who are present there has been summoned to provide a statement. Now, and I know opinion is divided, and I know Bwana Kiruga Dhuku, you will probably accuse Rigathi Gachagua of one thing or the other. But Bwana Lai, the concern now, because once again it's 18 months to the election, It is a use of police to accompany goons. Goons have been there and politicians have used goons from time immemorial. But now, whether it was Rigathi Gachagua or anyone allied to the government, the fact that you can actually access police protection and police issued firearms and police vehicles to use for political expediency, that's the challenge I'm seeing. Whoever is behind this, do you agree that that is indeed a challenge?
I think the security is a challenge to this country, and it's an area which I think we have forgotten, because the country is progressing and is moving forward. It's developing in very many regards. But we have left key government institutions in their 1960s, 1970s, 1980s state, especially the police. You know, if you check on the police as an institution, it has not grown much. And I wish that we need to understand that the police will be used if we don't allow them to mature to an extent where the country is also developed. The other aspects, the other arms of the government or the institutions of state are developing, but the state is remaining behind. When we don't remunerate, when we don't equip them, when we give them single weapons, you know, if you go to US or to other countries where it's a bit developed, even in South Africa, you'll find a police officer with an urban belt, you know, with a belt where he has a whip, he has a taser, he has a pepper spray. He can use multiple weapons to contain the same situation. But you get an officer, he is in civilian, he is not given a badge. You cannot, if you meet him, he'll just tell you, I'm a police officer. He'll never show you his ID. You have not given them a badge. We have not allowed them to have a badge. We don't give them bulletproof vest. When they see a situation which sometimes just needs a pepper spray, a whip, you know, to maybe disperse a crowd, you know, a tear gas here and there, you'll find that they are resorting to using bullets, you know, fire them up or shoot at protesters, because that's how we have armed them. We have given them a single AK-47 to come from the armory, and that is what we expect them. So when you find a situation where you need very little force, they are lost, because the only weapon they have left the station with is the gun. I think we need to understand that we need to reform the police. We need to, so that they are not used, because the usage of police in politics is a sign of a failure somewhere. When they are not able, you saw in the US, you saw the counter of ICE versus the state police, where the state police are saying that ICE, you cannot come here, you cannot do this to citizens, you cannot do ABCD. Because politicians are very selfish. They'll try to use it. Even Donald Trump, who is now in office, was accused of instigating the January 6th riots in the US. And it had its own implications on the politics of the country. I think the police can be used in any country, because they are the people, the officials who are present, the government officials who are present almost everywhere. And they might be able to be used by the opposition or the government, depending on how it suits them. Even when DCP was opening its headquarters in my ward, they had challenges, and they had their own ways of using, you know, the police to their advantage. When we realized that the same Rigathi Gachagua just 1 week ago told us how Koimburi acted a script which Koimburi never talked about. But it's the same Rigathi Gachagua who went in front of the media and explained step by step how Koimburi was mishandled by this. You know, the same Rigathi Gachagua appeared and said that was a script. Huyu jamaa alitengeneza michezo, sarakasi, and we had to excommunicate him. He didn't live by himself. It's very hard to believe this, and sometimes we think that is a very staged, because I don't know how the Malala play was called. And he's saying that he's now even writing. If the best script writer in the country.
Whatever the script or whoever wrote it.
Yes.
My question is about the use of security agencies, use of police for political expediency. Kiruga Dhuko, I'm certain that you are seeking re-election. If your opponent was to use police, now that we can see they're accessible to politicians, beyond the goons, we've stepped up. Once step up, now we can go into a police station, acquire a unit of police, and they can come out with their government-issued vehicles and guns, and they act against you as a politician. What does that mean, 18 months to elections?
You know, number one, that was a very bad incident, and we continue condemning it in the strongest terms possible. And you know, when we talk of Odaya, a friend, so that you understand, you know, my key interest in the matter. Recently, our party asked us, all those aspirants who want really assist my UDA party, to register. And I registered as an aspiring member of parliament for Odaya.
Okay.
So this falls square in my domain. Number one, you know, we don't know. You know, we just saw photos, there are policemen there, but exactly what happened is what we want to know. And that is why I'm saying it's important. The IG, the CS Interior, they have committed to do a thorough investigation, and that is what is needed in order to stem such incidents now and in future. Remember, politicians are the great culprits in this. Recently, the Ramu women representative was almost undressed near the pulpit there. These opposition leaders were there. They never uttered a word condemning what was done to the Ramu women representative. And she was just expressing her point. And it shows the extent to which politicians have gone. You know,
but Kenyans do not care about politicians. We do not expect any good behavior from politicians. We've known politicians for their bad behavior. That is okay. They use goons, they fight, they squabble in church, they use insults, that is fine. But it is a use of police by either side of the political divide in settling political scores that we are concerned about.
Yeah, and it also would concern me. But I'm riding on the commitment by the CS and the Inspector General that this thing will be investigated. But let me remind you something. Recently, some of these opposition leaders in our area, because, you know, we have to find a curative, you know, approach to this whole situation. One of the key politicians from our area went into one of our binocular stations, which is widely watched by people in our region. He said these people who are following William Ruto from this region, when they come, jeer them, make noise at them, chase them away. That is a call to violence. And I've said this, friend, I've said I'm writing a petition to 4 senior clergy in our area, namely Archbishop Anthony Muheria, Bishop Gerard Mureithi, Bishop Kamau Maina, and the PCA moderator Patrick Degu, explaining to them and providing them with evidence that indeed most of the violence we are seeing in the central Kenya region, it's coming from some of these politicians. And a friend, allow me to say, yesterday...
You're still diverting from my...
No, I'm coming back to it. Yesterday, you know, I have a foundation in that area. I work very closely. You know, you understand there were a lot of children in that church on Sunday. So yesterday, because these children have to heal, I went to the 3 schools that were mostly affected by those chaos. I'm telling you, you know, we are even putting the security officials in such a bad predicament. I called them to give me, to accompany me so that I am not accused of of doing anything sinister. They were afraid of coming because they don't want again to be caught in those crosshairs. So the thing is this, friend. The security officials, and as I agree with you, if there was any interference, you know that we say it's the police force is supposed to be very, very independent.
Do you believe in the independence?
Of course I do. And what we want to see, friend, if this has to stop, we must, you know, even if it is 3-4 days, you know, because I think at times we want things to be done in so much haste. Then 3-4 weeks from now, we get back to the same problem. So that's why I'm saying, let's give the police, you know, seeing policemen there, and if you look at those clips very keenly, you will see some stones coming from the opposite direction and landing at where they were standing. So instead of this accusation and counter-accusation, even from, you know, us lay people, and who were not there, who don't know exactly what happened, the best thing is to have a thorough investigation. But what I've said, and what we have said even as a leader from Odaya, these games, because it seems they are being played from elsewhere, they must stop. We must stop endangering our children. And also, I think some of these politicians need to tell us, You go here, there is chaos. You go there, there is chaos. Why? And why are we not seeing chaos in Kalonzo's meetings, in Matiang'i's meetings, in the other opposition leaders' meetings? Why is it only one opposition leader where we are only seeing chaos in every meeting? Right. That also need to be investigated.
When I lie, the front page of the Daily Nation has actually listed the people who should take accountability. And these are the police bosses, the IG of police. One, do you believe in the independence of the police service, or do you think it's a fallacy? Are we there yet?
Independent from what? I don't understand this independence. But it is upon us as individuals. Let's forget the institutions which we serve. It's upon us as individuals, as citizens of this country, to decide whether we want to be honest or not. Because you remember that when Gachagua had the executive favor, he used the same kind of weapons, and even the constitutional rights which we were claiming, he told us that it is lawlessness. And even the rights institutions, the rights bodies, told him that you are infringing on people's rights. When you are saying that, he even instructed, I think, Millicent Omanga, who was then Interior CAS, before the court ruled against them, that Millicent Omanga to wake up and also help to deal with these Azimio protesters. I think what we need to understand is that the police need to be reformed. The police need to be built to be independent. It cannot be independent just because we have added the word independent in the mandate, in the Constitution. But also, we need to understand that we need to empower these people. We need to professionalize it. And also, even when it favors us, we need to call our acts. We need to question our acts. But sometimes I even defend Gachagua, even when he's not doing favor to himself, that it is not very fair that you really acted harshly towards us. For the first time, Baba's car was shot 13 times. It's for the first time in history of country. We have had presidents, we have had Uhuru Kenyatta, Kibaki, we've led protests, even against Moi. It never happened. He said that by July, I think that year, he said that he has dealt with us conclusively. And that's why ODM totally even the media has always been spared in protest. In 2023, the unfortunate issue I have in this country also with the Kenyan media is that we have never questioned the acts of the people in the executive then, of the using violence against media practitioners. Media practitioners are either in the left or in the right or in one side. They are objective analysts of this situation here. But how did it come that journalists were attacked, media equipment were destroyed? Nobody questioned. The same individual was waking up at 3 a.m., going to office at night with full glare of cameras, live TV, and telling us that he wants to deal with Azimio once and for all.
And just like the IEBC that we were discussing after the break, the police are also a bit problematic when it comes to the electoral process and dealing with the political groupings. You've talked about what happened to Azimio. This has happened over and over again.
Yes.
And there were complaints, there were demands for accountability. Nothing happened yet. Do you think, because we listened to the CS saying that something has to happen this time around, do you believe in such kind of comments? That something will indeed happen?
I think that we will change the police the day we decide to professionalize it. I don't think that, in fact, now I think that the current police service under Kanja is a bit restrained because I have not seen, I don't know, it's the character of the IG who is not a tough talker. I think he's not very harsh on the opposition. I think that in fact, in a lot of instances, the police has also been believed to be acting against. We've just had a rally which was being held by Wakina Sifuna and Babu Owino in Kawangware, which is in our constituency just this weekend. The police, really protected them, ensure that, even if you disagree with them, they were allowed the space to campaign or to go to church, campaign without much hindrances. I think that the police has really shown restraint. We need to professionalize the police. If we don't see the urgency to do it, we'll always be complaining, especially during the elections, because these police officers, we are always told during elections that the best way to understand if you have lost or won an election is to talk to the police officers because they always have the raw intelligence of who is leading. Don't talk to your party agents who can be bribed and you have agents. If you have them,
Right. Yes, Barakiru.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a small input. I think I want to concur with my brother right here. We have a very, sober Inspector General of Police, a very cool man, a very reasonable man. And you see, like almost every other institution, these opposition guys, you still fight them, throwing words at him, blaming him here and there. And I think...
Shouldn't he be held accountable? Like in an instance
of course,
like
everyone should be held accountable. But, when it seems like someone have a problem with almost everyone in the society, there is a problem there, friend.
All right. United in impunity, that's the headline on the front page of the Daily Nation, and they're asking a question, is it a cover-up in as far as the incident that happened at Wetima Church, Wetima ACK Church in Othaya on Sunday? This is more than 90 hours after the incident. Investigations apparently are still on. None of the politicians who were present during that attack have been summoned to record statements or explain anything as witness statements. And Kenyans are wondering, is this indeed a cover-up? Will we get to the bottom of this? Will someone be held accountable? Some of the names listed here: United in Impunity, Douglas Kanja, the IG of Police, Mohamed Amin, Director DCI, Moshiri Nyaga, the National Police Service spokesman, Joshua Nkanatha, Central Regional Commissioner, and Jasper Mbati, Regional Police Commander. Of course, their boss, Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen, also listed there. United in Impunity. That has been one of the biggest discussions. I now want us to move on to the politics of the times. This week we saw a very big meeting at State House, branded in yellow. And Wanakiruga Duku was definitely there.
Yeah, I even spoke.
But a lot of criticism coming your way as well. Some senior officers of the government, issues around conflict of interest. And this one, the Standard focuses on one member of the Judicial Service Commission, that's Isaac Ruto, and questioning whether or not he should be so visibly attending such meetings. We've raised these questions, Bwanalai, over time. Some of these are political appointees. Are we trying to be a bit morally hypocritical? We know the nature of our politics. We know that political appointees will definitely support their master. Are we in any way trying to believe that Isaac Ruto's appointment to the JSC was not political and he therefore should not attend party politics?
Somebody who has been an MP for a very long time, somebody who has even been a governor, somebody who was at the center of the Kenyan politics for a very long time and was made a JSC commissioner. I don't know how you guys expected him not to be political. I think that we need to understand some of the suggestions. And I think we raised the question when KRA chairman was a UDA official.
Yes.
And we say that, how does this one work? And the same characters now calling us out. They were telling us that, it can work, and he served. And I think he was just removed because of the broad-based politics, where they say that we need to professionalize the management of the tax collection to ensure that it's separated from the politics of the day, and so on. But still, the person who is the chairman today was also a politician for some time. So I think that it is a very dicey, is a place where we need to find ways of. That's why it's always very good that we need to be objective, whether we are in the government side or the opposition side, whatever side we are on. We need to reflect on our actions. What are we doing? Does it harm the other side? Will the same be used to harm us? I think that in my politics, I always don't want to be in a situation where I use the powers to harm anybody. So Isaac Ruto, I really sympathize with him, because when you have become a politician, that's why there's always a say, once a politician, always a politician. Mm-hmm. You'll always find the inkling to attend political
It is the same debate about CSs and whether their involvement in party politics. Yes, we've seen especially even the experts that are related to government. They're very much involved in the ODM party politics.
Yes, and also the party politics, not only ODM, even some, because in this broad-based government, some of them are not even ODM members, like you have UDA, Aligned CSS, Jubilee Aligned CSS, etc. What we need to understand is that also what is the role of a cabinet secretary? The cabinet secretary's main role, which is not really well understood is to communicate policy.
Yes.
And sometimes communicating policy needs you to attend political functions. You need to be very political in nature, you know, and you need to be...
So that is different from Isaac Ruto,
you know,
as a member of the JSC.
As a member of JSC, you know, the beauty of it is that he was just an attendee, not like Kiruga Toku, who even addressed the meeting. He didn't address the meeting. Right. So probably the mistake he made was to wear, if he didn't wear the UDA colors, he would have passed for just a visitor in status who has been caught in a meeting where he was not supposed to participate.
All right. Even as you comment on that, Bwana Kiruga Thuku, it was indeed a meeting that in terms of perception, the numbers were good, all elected leaders were there. It really made the UDA look like the party of the day. The president appears to be a step ahead of the rest and all that. But there's a lot of discussion and there's a lot of worry even within UDA. It was raised by one of those speakers there, I think Danson Mugatana. That even in the plans to build a coalition with ODM, there are worries within UDA that these individuals may come and eat up space. Now, this is where you come up against a lie, clearly, that once Robert Alai comes into this coalition, your space will be a bit constrained.
No, but if you remember well, I started doing Alawi to come to our side way back. In fact, I received him officially during a show with him here. So these things are always there. I think among all professionals, I think politicians are the most insecure people on earth. Because you see, the numbers that will be brought together under the broad-based. Oh, I'm telling you, we will win this thing by between 2 million and 3 million votes. And, you know, it's always good to see the bigger picture. And, you know, I hear you saying, it seems so good, I don't know. It was good, you see? And it is good. And, you know...
You don't share in those concerns raised by your colleagues?
Of course it is good. You know, you listen to them and you address them.
You don't share in the concerns?
No, me, I'm not fearful of anything. I'm really happy about, you know, the way we have, the bigger picture. The fact that we are almost reinventing something akin to NAC, whereby almost the whole country came together. And what I'm telling you is this, friend. You know, the good thing about even the way this country is coming together under President William Ruto. You know, like in the place I come from, we have like two approaches to who President Ruto is. There is that, the people who are falling out with the president, they are trained to sell a certain negative narrative. For those of us still working with the president, we know of a man who wants to achieve for this country. We know of a man, the president and even his deputy, leaders who want to help us bring development to our people. And that's why we are saying about political tolerance. Let those who are selling the negative agenda about the president do it in peace and stop importing kills to our region to suppress those who want to speak the positive side of the president and his deputy. So the issue is the president means really well for this country, and the president is saying, you know, there were sometimes some people, and this actually to an extent answers your concerns. There were some people when we finished elections, they believed the work that now was to be done was to trample those people we had defeated, throw them away, not give them a chance. And you know, the president and most of us were opposed to that. You know, even the former president, President Uhuru, he used to say there are no category of Kenyans called Rusas. You know, President Kibaki was there. He used to say, you know, you have to be politically tolerant to everyone. And you see, these people reached out to the opposition to stable this country. All of them, President Uhuru did it, President Kibaki did it, even President Moi did it. You know, you don't have to hate so hard on those you have been in competition with. And I want to thank our president because he has done it so well. And it's not just about winning politically or what seems to be a win politically. Then you lose the country.
Yet the president admitted that, yes, there definitely will be give and take.
Yes.
We know that ODM has demanded that in such a coalition they would go for nothing less than a running mate position.
I've not heard that.
No, they did. Party leader Odinga said that they would go for nothing less than the running mate position in that coalition. Does that worry you?
No, it doesn't. Let me tell you, friend, you know, from where you are, you approach issues as a journalist. from where I am, I approach things as a leader, as a political leader. ODM is right. In fact, stop baptizing them demands. They are requests, you know, they are political requests. Then we shall sit down. Yeah? That debate is not taking place here. We shall sit down, our leaders will sit down, then there will be agreements. And as the president said, there will be concessions here and there. Yeah. You wanted this. Remember, the NADCO report is coming to effect very soon. So, you know what NADCO says. We have the Prime Minister, we have the other seats. So, we generally don't have even to lose the running mate as a coalition. We can still have the President, we can have Prof as his running mate. Our brothers here, they can have the Prime Minister. You know, we share the government, and it's not about only sharing the positions, but bringing Kenyans together. I'm telling you.
You would also be okay as you are an official of the UDA party.
Yes.
You would also be okay if at all the running mate position goes to ODM.
It will not go.
No,
I'm telling you, no, listen, we cannot preempt that. What I'm telling you is, after the NADCO report comes into effect, we shall be able to sit down and we shall agree who, you know, this is like a match. You know, like the way BAMBA used to say, Araina Mpira.
But I like anything less than the running mate position would actually show that ODM is a weaker party in this coalition.
No, I don't think that. I don't think so. And I am not of the opinion that ODM should get a running mate position in the coalition or in the cooperation with the UDA. I believe that if they fall for that, then they'll be negotiating from a very weak position, because the president can tell them that the running mate is a very powerful institution, and after that, then you don't deserve any other position. So they might lose a lot. And in fact, anybody who wants to weaken ODM should give them the running mate position. I think that they need to let UDA with its partners, you know, because UDA is now a partnership with the ANC. You remember that Musalia Mudavadi is within there. Ford Kenya is still there. If it were me, I would tell them to choose either Ford Kenya or ANC to get the running mate position, and we go for other opportunities. We need to separate ODM from this idea that they are addicted to the presidency. They are very desperate for the presidency.
For the last 20 years, you have been very consistent. It's the only party that has had a presidential candidate consistently for the four general elections.
Yes, the last 5 general elections.
Yes, then now the party has no presidential candidate. Isn't that the beginning of the end for such a party?
No, I think it's where they can strengthen themselves. If they understood that they can also play their politics without having somebody contending for the presidency, is when they will understand that they can rebuild themselves, so that in 10 or 15 years they capture power, but without going for the presidency now. Because every time they run for the president, they use a lot of resources and they don't necessarily win it. We have losses for the last. In fact, BAMBA was a special human being. If you understand political campaigns, BAMBA was a very special human being. To go for presidential elections 5 times, even if you have had unlimited resources, it is taxing on your mental state, you know, you're physically, emotionally. It is one of the most brutal. Some of the people cannot even go for campaigns twice for MCA. BAMBA went 5 times. You know, the brutality of the police, the rulings of the state, the mocking, you know, the insults which comes after that. There was a time that even the media would not cover you. He depended on that's how the political blogging was built in this country, because BAMBA would call you and tell you that, you know, we cannot get coverage in the media over this issue, since the government is influencing through the adverts of the state. I think ODM needs to separate from the presidency, need to run away from the idea that they must go for the presidency, either as deputy president or a presidential contender, for them to be seen to be a strong party.
Doesn't that leave the party appearing, in as much as a perception, appearing like they're negotiating from a weaker position?
I think the ODM would be negotiating from a very strong position if they go for they say that we don't want this, we want this. You know, because it will scare opponents. You know, it's very obvious that everybody wants to go for the presidency. Everybody wants to go for the deputy president. They think that, but who needs, you know, in fact, for this country, what people don't understand is that sometimes what is called who? Kithure Kinduki, Professor, is just legally the deputy president. But de facto, the deputy president of the country is the governor of Nairobi.
Really? Why do you say that?
Because, you know, every presidential meeting, you'll get the governor of Nairobi. The governor of Nairobi, in fact, by economic power, is more powerful than 30,
the deputy president.
Than 30 bottom counties combined. You know, the deputy president power is dominated by the president. You remember when Uhuru attended the ICC meetings in Hague, and then there was a push and pull. He said that he has handed power temporarily to the deputy president to act when he was absent. Immediately, he finished the meeting in The Hague. His own PA was sending us SMSs. Semeni, period of acting imeisha. What is this kind of insecurities? You know?
you know, Fred, one thing I like about Robert, my brother here, you know, he will say things that cannot be said by anyone else, which are not necessarily true, but he will say them, you know, like, politics is, it has so many dynamics. For example, during the State House meeting, the governor of Nairobi was there. I'm just a village MCA there, but I have a position in the party. I spoke, he didn't speak. But I'm telling you, you know, Prof Kidiki, by his nature, you know, he's a man full of humility, he's a very good guy. So at times, because he doesn't fight for those small things we are used to seeing, you know, those big guys fighting for very small things, even very small space. They want to trample upon everyone. So Prof is just there, he's cool, but he speaks in every meeting that Prof is there and the president is there, it is him to speak. This gentleman, he's a very powerful man. It is just that he's a cool man who exercises a lot of restraint in the way he does things. Remember, devolution is one of the most powerful, you know, organs in this country, you know, the devolved units and what have you. Prof is in charge of them. And if you start, you know, he's in charge of this, the ministerial subcommittees, he's in charge of a lot. And you see the good thing with President Ruto. And it is just, I think people just don't understand him at times. President William Ruto, just like what I used to see with Mzee Kibaki, he has donated a lot of powers to those he works with, the deputy president, the ministers, and he expects you, when he gives you work, you assist him to deliver concerning, and he normally don't interfere. I've been given the role of being the chairperson of the UDMC caucus, and that is what I was speaking about there. And I raised certain aspects, the issue of bursaries to the counties, the issue of, you know, the MCs, or the World Development Fund, you know, the autonomy of the financial autonomy of the assemblies, which even the president have signed into law, but is pending implementation. The president listens to you.
Okay.
He expects you to advise him and to raise concerns surrounding all those issues, and he acts on them.
Okay, let's go back to the meeting. And the president, away from issues of ODM, the president talked about the fact that he's meeting aspirants next week.
Yes.
And it was more or less a warning. It had been issued even by Musalia Mudavadi, whose position in the party, we're still not sure. I think he's a deputy party leader?
No. He's the prime cabinet secretary. You know, he is the link.
In the UDA, who is in UDA?
You know, they dissolved their party.
Yeah, but
he is now the link between the government and, you know, like the parliament and what happened.
Anyway, there's still confusion about ANC and whether or not...
No, you are getting confused.
The court made a pronouncement. But anyway, there was a warning, a general warning on people who are there that there are people who want your spaces.
Yes.
So the person within UDA is worried not just by the influx of ODM coming into this coalition, but also the aspirants, because some of those who are very close to the president may have the feeling or the entitlement that you're going to get direct tickets. Do you see that as a potential problem for UDA going forward? That anyone who feels that I'm very close to the boss, I need not to compete.
No, it may not
go their way.
Let me first confirm something to you. And I want to confirm it here. I'm close to both, I'm close to the deputy, but there is nothing like direct nomination. You see, I've told you I'm going for the Udaya parliamentary seat. There is nothing like direct nomination. We also have an MP who is also close to the president and the deputy president. So what happens? We go to the people, we interact with the people, and I think this is why it was very wise for the party to request those going for the various elective seats to register now, so that the people down there, who are the overall bosses in the process, can interact with our bids, can interact with the promises we have for them, can interact with our manifestos, such that by the time we reach the nomination stage, they will have known, for example, in Udaya, they will know Kiloga Buku as it's obvious, this is the most right guy for this position. So there is nothing like, and the boss has assured again and again, go back to the people. Nothing like that. There is nothing like that that will happen. Okay. Everyone is afraid. You know, for example, when you're in our party, boss have a lot of friends, and you know he's a very good man. He interacts with the president and the deputy president. We have very good leaders. Forget about what some of their detractors are trying to portray out there. They are our friends. We know them. They have friends across the whole nation. They have friends who are competing for space in very many areas. But the promise is that even the Kiloga sitting here, and you have heard the way I'm talking positively about the president and the deputy president, I must go through a fair electoral process in our party if I'm the one who will fly the party's ticket in Udaya.
It is a common problem even in ODM, and ODM is known, especially ODM, when the party leader was there, that closeness to the party leader would guarantee some people direct tickets. Do you think it's going to be any different this time round? And is it a moment for change in ODM, or do you feel it's more of the same, that direct tickets will still be an issue?
I think Baba had his own special way of, understanding politics. And because you remember, initially I was vying for Nyando parliamentary seat. And it's Baba who called me and told me, you are not a number one politician. Stop deceiving yourself with this Nyando thing. This guy is going to defeat you. Because you are an urban politician, you are not a rural politician. So avoid going to campaign interact. You look, and he gave me polling data showing, how everybody was performing. What people don't understand is that Baba was a domineering figure in ODM, and that powerful stature gave him the position to decide the fate of a very good number of us, to the politicians' disadvantage. Because sometimes you would raise the hand of somebody and the guy would magically get 75% of the vote of Baba. So, and that's why sometimes when we complained, he told us that you don't have a vote. I am the person who has the votes. Those people are voting for you because they love me. So we don't have that domineering figure, that powerful image, of a leader in ODM now, and it might work against a very good number of candidates. And they are now using their insecurities to try to push the government either to work with them directly, still they are in the seat of power, either as MCAs, MPs, senators, and governors, and they're trying to push the government of the day, who we are working with in a broad-based arrangement, to work with them. The same cannot be said of William Ruto, because William Ruto's kind of politics has worked in that he has always gone with the popular candidates. And that's why he has been successful. He has never lost an election since 1997 when he got into politics. And even when ODM almost touched the presidency was when William Ruto was with him. Because William Ruto handled the whole party nomination process. He was in charge of all that process. And he said that the best way to deal with this is to let Wananchi choose. Let the most popular candidate win. And I think that anybody wishing that William Ruto will give them direct ticket in UDA, unless he has a very sure belief that the people have a wrong choice, he would let them go to the people. And
what about ODM? Some very senior ranking officials of the party got there through nomination for their elected seats. Now they're facing opposition, some from their deputies and stuff like that. Without Raila Odinga's presence, do you think that issue of direct tickets will be there? And without it, do you see some of those high-ranking officials surviving?
I think direct ticket in ODM will be used as a tool of coercion, by the ODM leaders. It might be used by either the people who are in the leadership of the party to to exert their influence, because people know that Oburu is the leader, but they imagine that Oburu is old. So some people are already positioning themselves, to succeed him. So they might want to say that I am the person who is the future of ODM. I can influence, your direct ticket so you have to be loyal to me. So it might come in very many forms, the deputy party leaders, the chair, the party secretary general. So even the party secretary general has his own camp of MCAs and MPs who are aligned to him, and that is what is going to happen in ODM. So it might split the party into small factions. People might not necessarily leave the party, but the split within, because we don't have one figure who is going to. Baba used to wave his hand around and all the conflicts disappear. He waved his hand around and it's very easy to organize a party event. Baba used to do a lot of magic for us, and his absence is going to be felt. But what we need to understand also is that the direct party tickets, is a very unfortunate bit. If you ask me as a politician, if you gave me a direct party ticket, it works against me, because the voter down there thinks that you have been favored. So most of the time, you have a very hard time trying to compete with other parties. Yes. Trying to convince the voters that they were actually not given a fair chance.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because allow me to mention the name. The governor of Homa Bay, who's the chairperson of the party.
Yes.
And is one of the leading lights pushing for this coalition, road-based. Her getting the ticket to vie for governor for Homa Bay was more or less Baba's intervention, Raila Odinga's intervention, because John Badi was also going for the same. Do you see that affecting this coalition? The fragmentation that would come with some of these top officials seeking to bypass a nomination process when they're looking for probably re-election next year?
It's never, even us, even when we went through a nomination process, others believe that. Baba used to tell us that in ODM here, some people, there are only two camps, which you'll always be told. You are either told that you are given or you are denied the ticket. So when you win, even if you go to the nomination process, because Baba was present, they believe Baba gave you. When you lost, they believe Baba denied you the chance. So you always blamed Raila, either way. But what we need to understand also with the kind of politics now that we have, that also a good number of politicians in ODM believe that the current crop of politicians were favored by Baba. That one comes with it. And
you
so
included?
They believe that we were favored. Even when they cannot prove that in an election, they believe that we were favored. Because Baba was once in a lifetime leader, and Baba was a political leader, like holding a political leader stable for 20 years is not. Remember, what people don't talk about in this country is that we had a ruling party called KANU. Since Moi left power, this ruling party has never had an election, a grassroots election. In fact, KANU as it is today, whether, they talk about the leader being Gideon Moi, all the office holders are there illegally. In fact, the party itself, the existence of the party is illegal. Because 25 years, it has never held an election, grassroots elections, national elections, none. So the officials existing there are appointed by somebody. In fact, some of them, the lower ranking officials, seems to be more powerful than Gideon Moi himself. Yeah, so, but ODM has tried to comply by the statutory requirements, and this
election of party officials, we've not seen that. It's some organs of the party that come.
No, we did the grassroots elections, we did the ward elections, we did the constituency elections. Some of the constituency elections, like in Dagoretti North, there was a dispute. So I think 2 or 3 have not been concluded. We need to go to the county and then the national elections to finish the process. But I think that we are going to be concluding by March this year.
And an NDC to follow.
And an NDC to follow, so that, people think that the NDC will work against the Uhuru. People don't know ODM. People sometimes think that the people are talking loudly are the most powerful. The grassroots members of ODM are very powerful.
All right.
Yeah.
From party politics, I want us to wrap up this show, but I want us to talk about what's happening at the counties now that you are from 2 county assemblies. And it's what is happening with the continuing audits by the Senate. We saw the Senate summoning a governor early this week. I think that's a governor for Vihiga, over queries about expenditure for a housewarming party that was about 5 million shillings. On today's Daily Nation, they're talking about the Embu governor, Cecily Mbarire, who is accused of diverting 10 million shillings earmarked for the construction of the county integrated aggregated industrial park to finance a political event by the deputy president.
No, but
to mobilize boda-bodas.
But I think...
Don't you think, before you even defend the governor, don't you think that some of these actions should not even be blamed on the governor, but on the respective county assemblies?
No, you see, the governor explained so well. The Madam Chair, Cecily Mbarire, she said these funds had already been committed to the purpose and for the purpose they went to. It's only that they used the DP's occasion to announce the disbursement, and I don't see there is anything wrong there. So it's just like Mheshimiwa was saying here, that at times we want to say ministers or CSs, are attending political events and what have you. But, they are the policy leaders in their ministries. And at times, it is only common sense that they have to go where these political meetings are taking place, because that's where people are. They need to explain to these people.
So 10 million shillings that was set for the county aggregated industrial park, that many remain incomplete, and diverting that to mobilize boda-bodas. You find, as a member of a county assembly, you find that prudent expenditure by the county.
Friend, people will always want to use the language that fits whatever narrative they want to push. But my brother here knows. For example, money may initially be allocated for this purpose. But then again, because it happens even in our wards, for example, in our county, I told you we have an arrangement between the members, the elected members, and the county government. You are the ones from the wards. Our governor accepts. You go, identify the projects that are close to the people, talk with your people, let them give you the projects, limit them maybe within, for example, 20 million, you bring, we implement. So you can pick a certain project. Then during the supplementary budget, you realize there is a more, there is only the project that you need to address. So you will change, for example, 10 million or 5 million, and you commit to a new project.
Sanctioned by the county assembly.
Exactly. Okay. So, and I believe that is possibly what Governor Sess did.
So Banala, listening to your colleague here, then it means that a lot of this mis-expenditure, if we may call it that, by governors, should be blamed on the respective county assemblies and not the executives of these counties. An expenditure of 5 million shillings for a housewarming event, 10 million shillings used to mobilize boda-bodas instead of finishing a government project. It should be the respective county assemblies to blame, don't you think?
No, I think there's the oversight by the county assemblies, but the county assemblies also have limited powers, and especially when there's the face of the governor, the governors have a lot of powers, and it's the design of our constitution which is sometimes very questionable, because the county assemblies and Kiruga Thuku and me, we have been at the forefront of fighting for the independence of the county assemblies, and we are happy that for the first time, at least, the President William Ruto recognized that and ensured that he separated the exchequer remittances for county assemblies and the executive. And we hope that the county assemblies would be given the kind of independence to allow them to query, because these things should not be realized at the state level, at the Senate level. These things should be realized at the county assemblies level. But probably the Public Accounts Committee there was influenced, not to actually exert its pressure, because it is still the governor who is standing for the salaries of these people. It's still the governor who can decide that you ask her hard questions, then you're not going to get ward development in your ward.
So you do agree that that ward development fund has been used by some county executives to hoodwink county assembly members, not to question some obvious...
So in fact, it's not to hoodwink, to coerce. The governors misuse the ward development to exert pressure on the MCS.
Yet you are one of those people who was really pushing for this, was it 2 years back?
No, I pushed, you know why we are calling it ward development? Because the law now does not guarantee that every ward is going to get equitable development. It is the governor, we have 85 wards in Nairobi. The governor can decide to develop only 5 wards. There's nothing in the law which compels him. We don't want a fund for ourselves. We are saying that give equitable development to this ward, depending on how undeveloped it is, so that at least there's some level of, not that when I ask, what used to happen in before Cecil, there was Wambora. Basically when he unleashed how did he survive impeachment 9 times? When he unleashed the Ward Development Fund, and you realize that Allah, he can decide not to give my ward development, then I have no recourse in law. So that one is why we say that please make it part of the law that every ward, there must be development of equal measure every financial year.
Yes.
But if we allow it as it is now, then the governor can say that and there's nothing you can do.
Isn't that what is happening? That ward development fund that you talk about is the same tool that the governors are using to ensure that oversight by the county assembly is a bit measured.
No, luckily in Nyeri we don't have that problem. We are very lucky. You have to give credit where it is due. I didn't want to thank our governor because you remember our governor is 2-term. He's now finishing.
Are you speaking for him?
No. You know the good thing,
he was not present at the meeting in the State House, was he?
Yeah, he had apologies.
Okay.
No, he has been hosting the president there. We were with him in my ward when the president came. We were with him in Sagana Storage, adorned in UDA colors. That's our guy. We want him to go for the city once in a UDA ticket. Okay. I will campaign, if he goes with the UDA ticket, I will campaign really hard for him because I know he's a good worker. Now, what we did in our area is that we agreed, irrespective of whether one supports the county government or not, they will be having, the way Robert, my brother here, is putting it, and what we have been pushing for from the government. Every ward, every year in Nyeri County has a certain amount, maybe 15 million, 20 million, 30 million, earmarked for the ward development. So that's a very, very good thing that the governor has done. And you see, during the State House meeting, this is what I brought forward because I spoke on behalf of all the MCAs as the chair of the UDMC caucus. And I explained to His Excellency that this ward fund, these MCAs don't want this money to go to their pockets. It's money that goes to the citizenry. But you see, we really have to thank the president. Okay, someone will say, I'm campaigning for him because he's my party leader, but he has really tried. If devolution has a friend, it's President William Ruto. There, in our presence, he asked the leaders of the majority, both in Senate and the National Assembly. And in fact, I remember him asking, Bona hamujibu sawa sawa. And they had to stand up and say, the ward fund, the matters have reached here. The autonomy of the assembly, it is about adjusting the budget so that it will come, the budget cycles. So most of these things that MCAs have been clamoring for, I believe they will come into fruition in President Ruto's presidency, and I want to thank him very, very much. And he equally has a very good deputy, Professor Kithure Kindiki. It's true, because Professor Kindiki is the one person who is in charge of devolution. Okay. And I work very closely with him, in those matters concerning the MCAs, and even the Prime Cabinet Secretary, because you hear he is the link between the national government and the parliaments and what have you. All this, in fact, he was tasked there with seeing how the MCA's job groups can be improved. I even have a scheduled meeting with him to discuss the same. So we have the best leadership, and I hope the MCAs are taking note of this.
I'll take that as your final word. Parting shot.
No, I really fear for any county where senior members, like Kiruga Tuku, is actively defending a governor. The governors,
I'm seeing the
governors,
That's the kind of oversight.
The governors are supposed to deliver. It is not a favor.
Yeah,
so we are the primary oversight institutions, in the assemblies, in the counties. So we cannot be defending our friends who are the governors. They have to deliver, and they have to do the right thing because if you mess the county level, we can complain about the president doing a lot of illegalities, but sometimes it's probably the governor, because the two levels of executive authority are very key, and the grassroots level is very important. So I think that first I would urge us on the issue of observing a lot of decorum during in places of worship. I don't think that I condemn the attack on the Witima Church, the CK Church in Nyeri. I don't think that it's a very good thing, but I also would urge, good number of us in both political divide that we need to observe that moral decency when playing our politics, and also ensure that we are not, acting as in or playing for the galleries. And also we need to be very objective when doing our politics. Otherwise, you are going to injure the cohesion of this country and disintegrate the country, because it's very dangerous. But we also need to understand that as politicians, churches and funerals need not to be our only platform. Let us spend money to organize political rallies. Mimi, I call people to schools. I hire halls, because sometimes in places like urban centers you don't have enough grounds. Okay. So the grounds belong to schools or facilities, but I avoid going to play the politics in the religious platforms, because sometimes I make my preachers lose their moral authority to question me.
Okay, thank you. Our time is up, so
let me just make us in short. So mine is just to echo what my brother says here. Politicians have to start practicing their politics with decorum. They must remove their politics from the church. In fact, they must stop endangering children. And most importantly, and this goes to the Mount Kenya leadership, they've been telling people, you cannot belong to this political party or that one. Let me put it categorically here. For example, right now we are mobilizing for the UDA. We are carrying out repeat elections. People must respect the Constitution. I will campaign for President William Ruto and his running mate, Professor Kidiki, because that's my constitutional right. Let people campaign for their candidates also, and let the people decide.
Thank you so much. Kiruga Thuku, MC Shinga Ward in Nyeri County, and Robert Alai, MC Kileleshwa Ward in the Nairobi City County. Asante sana for your time at TV47. Our panelists this morning, as we took a look at the big headlines, united in impunity, that attack on the Witima Church still being questioned. Is it a cover-up? Shaming judiciary. This is a member of the JSC who attended the UDA meeting in State House, donned in party colors. There was a lot of yellow there. County billions, our governors sank cash into stalled projects. Is also there on the front page of the Star this morning. My name is Freddie Ndimuli. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a State of the Nation. Good morning.